Namibia must reach its industrial potential by the year 2030 and beyond. To reach this ambition, the country must have all the infrastructure needed, manufacturing potential, support for a bigger regional market, and a diversified open market economy with a resource-based industrial sector, commercial agriculture, skills development, and sustainable growth at home in all 14 regions.
On the principles of economic order, Article 98 of the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia prescribes that the economic activities of Namibia shall be on the principles of a mixed economy, with the objective of securing economic growth, prosperity, and life of human dignity for all Namibians. It is coupled with the strategic objectives of Harambee Prosperity Plan number 1, as well as Harambee Prosperity number 2, and the mandate of the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, which are to, amongst others, improve Namibia's manufacturing base, realize industrialization, promote a culture of entrepreneurship, secure a market access for Namibian products, and attract investments.
An industrialized Namibian nation generates employment and increases the productive capacity to meet demands. It also means increased industrial investment from abroad and at home, policy development, and increased domestic production of a wide range of goods and services.
The Ministry of Industrialization and Trade is the government institution responsible for promoting growth and development of the Namibian economy through the formulation and implementation of appropriate policies to attract investment, increase trade, develop and expand the country's industrial base. The ministry's vision is to be a leading agent for economic structural transformation, whereas its mission is to create and sustain a conducive business environment through value addition, enterprise development, market access, and investment promotion for the benefit of all. Its mandate is guided by the National Development Plans and Vision 2030, which promote competitiveness in the export sector in terms of product quality and differentiation.
We take pride and recognize our mandate to ensure progressive yet balanced policy and legislation space, stakeholder engagement, and ensure an enabling business environment to improve Namibia's competitiveness, market space, agencies, corporate success, and trade negotiations. Our mandate is delivered firstly through the Department of Industrial and Enterprise Development, which deals with industrialization, investment policy, and regional economic development, and secondly, through the Department of International Trade and Commerce, subdivided into International Trade, which is responsible for trade agreements, trade policy, and trade promotion. And lastly, Commerce, which is responsible for weights, measures, standards, trade and commerce, as well as consumer protection.
Ministry has three main mandates. The first one is for industrialization, and the second one is the promotion of domestic and international trade, as well as a promotion of investment and stimulating investment. So the part where we come in the Department of Trade and Commerce, that's what we call ourselves, and it's actually very vast. We have two directorates in our department. One is responsible for internal trade, which is through the Directorate of Commerce. And then we have the other one, which is the Directorate of International Trade, which deals with your international trade or cross-border trade. There are, of course, various lines of actions and projects under each and one of them. The Department of Commerce is actually quite very, very core to our economy, and it was made very obvious, especially during the COVID pandemic. Usually we always knew about the international trade because you hear about SACU, you hear about SADC, the World Trade Organization. But when it comes to your regulation of your domestic industry, the Commerce Department is actually really, really crucial. It's the one that looks at your standards. It's the one that looks at your regulatory framework as far as competition is concerned. So your competition authority is under that Commerce Department. Your business registration and intellectual property right is under Commerce. Believe it or not, of course, as I'd mentioned during COVID, how very important it was is that, remember the liquor licenses that needed to be renewed? The Liquor Act is also administered under the Commerce. Metrology, which is your weights and measures, is also under Trade and Commerce.
During this series on industrialization in Namibia, we look at the industries contributing to the growth of the Namibian economy and the active role the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade is playing in ensuring the attainment of Vision 2030 and national development objectives. Growth at Home is the theme chosen by the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade to reinforce the importance of accelerating economic growth, reducing income inequality, and increasing employment. The Industry Growth Program is a step on Namibia's path towards becoming a highly competitive, industrialized nation with sustainable economic growth and an important element of the war against poverty.
Poverty is a national issue, and all of us need to address it as a collective from our respective environments. Compounded by high levels of unemployment, especially youth unemployment, we are preoccupied with interventions to alleviate that plight. We provide operational facilities to especially small businesses across the country. We're working on a policy on the national informal economy that is small businesses. We provide training through the Empretech program, to mention but a few.
Empretech Namibia was launched with the overall objective to bring about transformational change in unleashing the growth potential of micro, small and medium enterprises in Namibia through entrepreneurial mindset change and skills training, as well as provision of a comprehensive range of business advisory services.
Empretech program is a behavioral approach. So the main component of the Empretech program is the entrepreneurship training workshops, which takes only 6 days. But at Empretech, we call it a master's program in 6 days, because there you are introduced to what are the competencies that you need to improve and how do you behave on a daily basis, so that at the end of the day, you make those behaviors a habit. And once it becomes a habit, then success is guaranteed. We attach business development advisors who have been trained through the Empretech program model to be able to look at your business and come out with what we call critical issues. And then they can then advise you on how do you deal with those issues in order to improve your businesses. So now, again, the backbone of the whole program is the self-responsibility. That means when we teach you how to identify the competencies and how to make them strong, that is for yourself. And after you have completed this training workshop, you realize that you start looking at yourself rather than who is out there to assist me. Because the whole research found out that successful entrepreneurs believe in themselves.
I gain a lot of knowledge from the training. Just to mention a few: goal setting, information seeking, opportunity seeking, taking calculated risk, self-confidence, finance managing, just to mention a few. Previously, how I was running my business, and after the training, it's a huge difference. There are a lot of office furnitures and a lot of government cars whereby the seats are torn, a lot of furniture that are just standing around where the government is buying a lot of office furniture every year. While the government could maybe tender those old furniture to upholsterers so that it can be reupholstered and they can reuse it, or they can auction it and they get their money back. Meaning, tender out such tenders to small businesses. You are employing, you are giving employment to a lot of people.
If it wasn't these people from Empretech, I could not even having this idea of becoming an entrepreneur. Because these people, they equipped us, they have persuaded us that you can also be your own boss. And I thank God for that, because I achieve more skills and experience through them. I really thank them. They train me a lot, and they give me enough skills on how to become entrepreneur. Because my reason when I come from school, I wasn't know if I can be an entrepreneur. I was only maybe think that maybe if you finish school, if you graduate, you will only make up your CVs and look for the job. But these people, they have told us that we can open up our own company and employ ourselves and others as well. And that is what I'm doing right now.
It operates the Gemstone Training Center at Karibib in the Erongo region, a small town that runs along the B2 highway leading to the coastal towns of the country. The ministry established the center in 2019 to provide the Namibian youth with skills in cutting and polishing and develop industrial value chain activities based on Namibian resources and raw materials. A total of 142 youths from all 14 regions received training in the gemstone cutting and polishing program, with 138 having successfully completed the program since January 2021.
At this training center, I've come to know how to identify certain type of gemstones, the different styles they have been cut in, what value each and every one of them has, all those kind of things, man. The different machines used in the processes and all that.
In addition to the Gemstone Training Center at Karibib, the ministry invested in the infrastructure of gemstone centers in the Karas, Erongo, and Kunene regions. Support for the equipment procurement through the Equipment Aid Scheme for small-scale miners and for cutters and polishers has also been among the Namibian government's intervention in the value chain.
We as a ministry, we train a lot of youth at the Karibib Gemstone School, and they now have the opportunity to be able to make jewelry. So we create a jewelry industry here. So that's exactly what value addition is to start looking to yourself. What is it that we have, and how can we add value to it? And how do we make sure that intra the country we trade with each other first? Then how do we trade more with the rest of SADC, the rest of SACU, and with the rest of Africa?
Based on the positive image, the excellent reputation of genuine Namibian gemstone products, and the adoption of sustainable production practices, the industry will be able to supply a growing range of quality products to discerning local, regional, and international buyers.
Through the years, the Namibian government has offered assistance to micro, small, and medium enterprises involved in manufacturing and value addition business activities with production equipment and machinery through the Equipment Aid Scheme. Whilst the ministry continued to revise and find new modalities to continue assisting SMEs, the duty remains to all Namibians to support local entrepreneurs to build a strong domestic consumer-based economy to be able to compete internationally. Local support indeed will ensure the sustainability of local manufacturing and service businesses. I call on all Namibians to support local first. Buy local and grow Namibia.
As part of its industry support initiative, the ministry has supported micro, small and medium enterprises through the Equipment Aid Scheme and provided assistance in the form of equipment and other technology as per the requirement to SMEs in order for them to effectively run their businesses and subsequently create employment.
My name is Marco Voss. General Manager for Soft Cloud Investments. We're local manufacturers of copy and toilet paper. We got support from them for them to purchase two toilet paper machinery for us and one copy paper machinery.
My name is Robbie Amadela. I'm the owner of Ruama Gates Manufacturing and Ruama Fashions. Ruama Gates, we produce fencing materials, and Ruama Fashions, we make clothing. We received a barbed wire machine that is to make barbed wire, and we also received a diamond mesh making machine that is to make diamond mesh for our market.
Edina yangu ngai Petrus Agustinus, Managing Director of Master Radiators. Aturongwe radiator, the fuel tanks, atu virongo, tatu vifikire, tatu do pareke, se tatu turamo majajomak. Ko Ministry of Trade, utari pamona koma kwatho ngashigo o material, no equipments, kashe compressor.
In the metal fabrication industry, the local metal manufacturing companies form, bend, cut and weld metal inputs, making a broad range of products, either for direct distribution and use in construction, agriculture, ship repair and transport, or for further distribution to Namibian hardware stores, to local businesses and end consumers. The specialized medium and large-scale metal manufacturers in Namibia source their production inputs directly from abroad due to their larger order volumes, whereas the predominant input sourcing for smaller Namibian manufacturers is via local hardware stores and steel traders. Wood charcoal is Namibia's oldest value chain. Stemming from the driest bush, it is the most authentic agro-processing source of energy. Also known as black gold, it is commercially viable, successful, and widespread, and creates an income and employment for many while assisting farmers with tackling bush encroachment. Encroacher bush species are harvested into biomass on farmlands in Namibia, mainly in the Otjozondjupa, Omaheke, and Oshikoto regions. Namibia is among the top 10 charcoal exporting countries and countries generating best trade surpluses from charcoal, with the highest positive net exports for charcoal. By 2021, Namibian charcoal exports accounted for over $64,700,000 with export volumes of value-added wood charcoal growing over 60,000 tons. The number of wood charcoal producers increased from 350 to 1,082 between 2014 and 2020. The major export markets at the end of 2020 for wood charcoal were South Africa, Japan, Pakistan, with efforts made to access the Turkish market. Owing to the country's wealth in natural resources, which are a critical component of an industrialized economy, is the salt production sector at the harbour town of Walvis Bay. It is here where the process of evaporation, that superior quality solar sea salt, is produced and eventually finds its way to markets and kitchens around the world. The Walvis Bay Salt Company has been in existence for 59 years and employs over 150 permanent employees. It has penetrated the North American economy, Europe, West and East Africa, Kenya, and South Africa.
The industry is sustainable and it grows with population growth, meaning as population growth internationally, your salt consumption grows. But if there's an international crisis like COVID, it is not that the market falls away, because even in a time of a crisis, there will be an amount of salt. So it is a stable demand for the product. And last but not least, what is quite important, salt cannot be substituted by anything else.
Some of the sea salt is iodized and crushed, bagged and exported, while another portion is refined to table salt under various Namibian brand names such as Ikango and Sierabos. In addition to its value-added processes, the company also produces oysters from its ponds, for exports with volumes amounting to 1 and 2 million per year. In realizing the targets set under Namibia's economic development and growth achievements, the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade steward agencies are tasked with ensuring its mandate of promoting growth and development of the Namibian economy through appropriate policies to attract investment, increase trade, and expand the country's industrial base. The ministry has 6 government agencies or public entities. These are the Namibian Industrial Development Agency, Business Intellectual Property Authority, Namibia Competition Commission, Namibia Standards Institute, Namibia Trade Forum, and Namibia Estates Agents Board.
The Namibia Trade Forum is an agency of the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, and we were created particularly to institutionalize public-private dialogue, particularly on issues related to international and domestic trade. And so in that space, the role of the NTF is to act as the main consultative body representing private sector views to government. And if maybe I can give an example on issues related to trade negotiations, the role of the Namibia Trade Forum is to ensure that industry-specific input is encapsulated. Not only is it encapsulated, that it forms part of Namibia's positioning in terms of trade. And I think another critical role that we play is after such trade negotiations are done, it is the role of the NTF to help facilitate discussions or dialogue that help the private sector understand how they can benefit from such trade agreements. So really, it's a facilitator between the public and the private sector on issues related to international and domestic trade.
For an economy to grow is through different vehicles. You have different vehicles and instruments that contribute towards that growth. And I think having businesses that operate in a country is one of those vehicles that contribute to economic growth, depending on how they fare or how they do. Sometimes some of them are there to cater for social and cultural interest, while others are profit-making, and others might be more public interest-related entities. So I think the fact that we are the platform where you are able to register, it's a way that we contribute to economic growth with the ministry. The other side is also when you venture into the area of industrialization, there are certain assets or intangible assets that businesses can own, or technology that they use or innovate on, and that requires protection, because say if you develop a certain chemical model or so, you would not want everybody just to take it and copy it. You would want protection for a certain time period that you are able to recoup the investment that you've made. So we create that enabling environment where entities and people with innovative ideas can come and protect their ideas and so on, and be able to really have some tangible benefit from it.
Within the broader mandate of promoting competition, we are actually basically promoting employment. And we do that by ensuring that when companies are merged within the market, if there are any anti-competitive mergers that have an impact on employment, it is our responsibility to ensure that we either approve those mergers with conditions where we are protecting employment, or we are simply prohibiting them based on that public interest issue of employment. But so far, we have not prohibited any measure based on public interest consideration, which is your employment, but we have certainly imposed conditions based on public interest, which is employment. Within this broader mandate again, we are ensuring that the small and medium enterprises participate in the economy. If you look at our major considerations again, a number of small and medium enterprises are basically excluded from notifying mergers. And we do that by just ensuring that if they are below the threshold, which is 15 million, then it basically means that that small SME will not be required to notify a merger. And that is, a way of allowing them to participate in the economy.
We are also given the mandate to carry out functions in terms of conformity assessment, which is very unique actually. It's very unique in Namibia and in the whole world, because in other countries, the role that we are playing is done by more than 3 institutions. So we are 1 in 3. We do standardization, development, marketing of health standards. We do metrology, measurement, that's measurement traceability, and we do legal metrology, enforcing the measurements. And then we also do other conformity assessment services.
The Namibia Industrial Development Agency, also referred to as NIDA, is responsible to actively facilitate and drive the industrial agenda of Namibia. NIDA has developed industrial infrastructure across the country, namely business, SME and industrial parks, as well as agribusiness investments.
Our work here in terms of industrial development is to ensure that we bring in industrial development activities that are across the country. So in essence then we have more than 140 SME and industrial parks and other facilities that promote industrial development across the country in all the regions. You will find either an industrial park or an SME park, or you'll find a farm or a facility that we are trying to ensure that we can support activity, entrepreneurship activity, industrial development activity. We were also quite heavily involved in ensuring that we can look at bring in development partners to help us to support basic informal economy players. And we're also now moving towards supporting the startups that is quite pervasive among the youth. We work with many other entities across the government sphere so that we can start ensuring that our natural resources get support in terms of industrial development.
Close to 3 billion Namibian dollars have been invested in agribusiness industrial infrastructure for the production of profitable high-quality dates, grapes, pomegranates, pecan nuts, and prickly pears, and serving the needs of climate-smart agriculture, renewable energy, and value addition. Measuring 18,000 hectares, the Eersbegin Date Farm, which is situated at Korigas in the Kunene region, is one such farm benefiting from this investment. The Kavango Cattle Ranch is among NIDA's infrastructural investments. Located at Mangeti and bordering the Kavango East and West regions, the farm is 168,900 hectares in size and comprises of over 40 individual farms.
Kavango Cattle Ranch portrays a good image of young steers which progress very, very well in the feedlots, and people or the marketing people outside on the auctions hunting these cattle because they can make good progress out of these animals here. So they just make profits. We take our animals from very harsh conditions, we put them in a place where they eat leek, they get supplemented, and then they grow within 21 days up to 48 days in a big animal, and then they get slaughtered at Midco, or it gets exported to South Africa.
The Naute Irrigation Farm in the Karas region measures 1,500 hectares and harvests grapes, dates, pomegranates and prickly pears. The types of grapes include flame and crimson red seedless grapes and early sweet and prime white seedless grapes, as well as melody black seedless grapes. These grapes are harvested from November to January. Its harvested dry dates varieties include Mejul, Lulu, Kenezi and Colors, while the fresh variety are called Bari. The dates are usually harvested between February and April.
The other activity that we have is the properties. We've got about 248, or about 148 actually, not 200, 148 industrial sites and parks across the country. And these sites are firstly the industrial parks that we have established under the auspices of the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, is to create a how can I call it, a industrial or business infrastructure that we have been stimulating through getting tenants to either sell, trade, or produce. And these industrial parks are actually dispersed across the country.
The ministry continues to help local SMEs to establish their businesses by subsidizing rentals.
The other potential activity that we have is we are producing cars as well. We are assembling cars, actually, not just producing. We are assembling a good quality pictured cars in this country. And I do not know why, as Namibians, we don't take pride in what we do and what we have. But we have entered into a joint partnership with the pictured firm from France, and it's called actually a pictured open assembly plant. It's in Walvis Bay. We produce a range of cars there, and the only constraint in nature is that it's not yet for the consumer market. But we are looking at reorienting that constraint because the selling competitiveness in comparison to other cars here or car sellers. Let me not say we are the only assembly ones. The others are just bringing them in. They are importing the cars. So their prices is a little bit lower than what we offer. And what we are trying to do is to talk with the trade officials from the Southern African Customs Union to try and waive a certain customs rebate or duty so that we can make our cars more consumer competitive.
Cross-border trade issues are also a real barrier to trade, but also most importantly, just understanding what it is that you need to do when you enter another market. So there could be those barriers. But of course, what do we do as ministry? We do have certain, once an agreement is in place, if you want to trade to a certain country, if we have an agreement, we'll then assist you on identifying what those barriers are.
Dinapama Manufacturing and Supplies manufactures garments for sports institutions, corporates, private and public enterprises, government, schools, and the public. The garment manufacturer received 4 technical machines through the assistance of the ministry in 2011, shortly after its establishment. These are used to make bags and for embroidery and printing. Having started with only 7 employees in 2010, Dinapama has grown over 100 workers, receiving upskilling in hemming, interlocking, button sewing, partaking, and elasticizing. Productivity is an important element in this area of work. Productivity is measured by the achievement towards established goals based on relationships between inputs and outputs. Garment manufacturing requires a consistent volume, ensuring maximum utilization of resources.
Our assistance from the ministry came long back, around 2011. 2010 and 2011, we bought some machines like straight. We bought technical machines that were helping us to do bags. So I will also show you where they are. Best called typical machines that were helping us with bags. We used to do a lot of bags for Scorpion zinc mine, and And COP11, we also done COP11. And we were crying because the machines that we were using, they were not compatible for the bags. And we were struggling, so we ordered some, and they are still, some are working, some are now worn out. But otherwise, those were machines. We also, they helped us with one of the biggest printing machine. Unfortunately, it could not work out properly, but it was a nice big, but maybe the South Africans that have all given it to us, it was not in a proper condition, but they helped us a lot with a couple of those machines. And also, you know, they given us an opportunity to go see in the world, to see how others are doing, and be able to see where to find some equipments and materials.
From working in a butchery to owning her own, local entrepreneur Margrieta Swartz is a small-scale butchery owner who received equipment aid from the ministry to assist her in running her business. She has been operating from the SME Park at Luderitz in the Karas region since 2005.
Die equipment help my baie. Want ek het altyd die duurste rassens gekoop. Ek het wors gekoop en nou kan ek dit self doen. Ek kan boerewors self maak, ek kan droewors maak, ek kan 'n biltong maak en die rassens die belangrikste wat die duurste is kan ek self maak want die equipment help my baie om dit te kan doen.
Namibian producers should continue to diversify their goods and services and further form cooperatives to boost their revenue growth, employment or job creation, venture funding, networking, and alliance building to fulfill social and economic needs. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, economic downturn, and global conflicts has taught us that efficient manufacturing industry is needed to enhance economic stability for household and economic transformation. By drawing on a multitude of lessons from these challenging times, Namibia must use the lessons learned to gear up for the fourth industrial revolution and the benefits it presents to industries such as higher productivity, improved quality of life, new markets and lower barriers to entrepreneurship. Fourth industrial revolution is substantial and encouraging for economic growth and structural transformation.